Joke. What's the difference between sand?
Do those advertisement signs you see on the side of the road actually increase sales for a business? I've always been curious, so I decided to find out for myself. In business, I'm constantly searching for that one marketing strategy where it's just a simple function of spend X amount on marketing and return a predictable, consistent return. Basically, I want to spend $100 and know that $1,000 is coming back. Is that too much to ask for? In this constant pursuit of a consistent return, I have done all sorts of marketing experiments, from cold approaches, lottery giveaways, thank you cards, gift boxes, and much more. This month, we are testing yard signs, sometimes called bandit signs. You see them all over, but do they actually work? And are they worth the cost? And why would I even decide to try this? So I own a decent sized moving company with employees and trucks all over the place. And as part of my business, I am in contact with lots of smaller moving companies who I help navigate increasing sales and managing their business, things like that. Someone I know who owns another moving company reached out and said they have had success with yard signs to help generate sales. And this was a little bit surprising at first because moving isn't something people need all the time. And by default, most people who see the sign won't likely need a mover anytime soon. But he said it's working, so who am I to challenge what works? I pressed for some more details and found out he has had success placing these signs by community mailboxes and at the exits of neighborhoods. His theory being people in those neighborhoods will see those signs multiple times a day and eventually give him a call. And he is getting calls, like multiple jobs a week booked. So I asked what the sign looked like, and it was a very simple design, just with his logo and phone number. So that's really all I needed to hear to try it out for myself. So now I need to design a sign and get them ordered. So 2 weeks later, the signs are finally here. A lot of signs. This might take a while. So let's do sign number 1. There we go. 249 to go. What's the biggest piece of wisdom you know?
When in doubt, use the toilet.
I think I put that one in a snake hole.
This ground is not doing it. There he goes.
Okay.
Oh, joke. What's the difference between sand? Here's some grass, though.
Oh, that's nice.
That's a good place. I have no idea where we are.
No, but we're at least getting in a better flow now.
Yeah.
What's the difference between...
What's the difference between a chickpea? There's somewhere you can take a dookie.
Probably would be a good idea.
Somehow I have to pee again. And it's almost lunchtime.
You think we're going to be able to get 250 out today?
Not today if we're at 10% of that.
There's our competitor.
We're going to be fighting with the mailman. Let's see. 10,000 likes, and I'll zoom in on the back of his shorts. It's kind of in their yard.
Yeah.
What's she running?
She's running from something. Oh, there we go. Drop the mask. She's got it. Get a shot of my flesh wound. Reverse elbow.
Maybe wipe the dirt.
That's part of the charm. So we've been talking about how we might get a couple angry calls with all these signs we've been putting out. And if it happens, this will be the street it comes from. Karen Drive. Oh, I have to make one Number 100, done. It's taking much longer than expected. My hands are beat. Day one is officially complete. We managed to get out over 100 signs, but our methods need a major change. My hands are absolutely torn apart from the signs. Something I didn't think about is these signs are built to be put in grass. And I live in Arizona, which has very little grass. Nearly every sign has to go into rocks. In order to get one of those signs into rocks or hard ground, it takes up to a minute of pushing and shimmying these fragile wire signs into the ground, tearing up my hands and being frustrated out in the 100-degree weather. So on top of this, we spent about the first 2 hours of the day in areas with very few spots to put the signs. So even though we got 100 signs out, it took 8 hours and felt like we should have been able to do this much, much quicker. By far, the major issue is getting those signs in the ground, though. It's going to be a nightmare if I have to just aimlessly jab 150 more signs into the rocks. So I did some searching to see if anyone has any tips at all on how to better install these signs. Please help me. And surprisingly, I couldn't find anything even remotely useful. The only tutorials I could see are to stick them in grass, which couldn't be any more obvious than it is. The only idea we have as of right now is to buy a huge drill bit and attempt to pre-drill holes in the ground and then slip those signs in the ground in those pre-drilled holes. So we're going to try that. Oh, also, one piece of good news, we already booked one job and gave out an additional quote because of these signs. So it's already working in less than a day. And really, that's the only thing keeping me going at this point. So let's get a drill bit and see if we can finish the rest of these darn signs. All right, we're about an hour deep on day two. Finally kind of getting into the groove of things here.
Definitely a good groove.
The drill, this is the key. Okay, day two is officially over with, and we have put out 250 signs. It's done. I can't stress enough how much of a lifesaver that drill was. It was still a late night getting out the remaining 150 for the day, but I was able to get out 3 times as many in an hour with that drill. Serious lifesaver. We also changed up the strategy a bit on day 2 and focused much more on busy intersections where there is a ton of visibility, tons of cars going past all day long. So we have a group where people will see those signs every single day in their neighborhoods or their apartment complex, and a group of super high visibility signs on busy intersections. All we can do at this point is wait and see the results, so I'll check back in a month. See you then. So it's been a month and the results are in. 250 signs in the ground. How much of a return did this make my moving company? And is it worth doing again? So just to start off, let's talk expenses. Expenses are pretty minimal here. The signs themselves, those were kind of expensive, but there's not very many different kinds of expenses here. So the signs were $797.64. That's by far the biggest expense. I had to buy that drill bit. That was $15, that big beefy drill bit. Fuel, I'm gonna say about $40. It wasn't much. So that comes out to a total expense of $852.64. Now from these signs, we started getting calls pretty much right away, and then it dwindled as the month went on, which makes total sense as signs get pulled out of the ground. You know, the largest number of signs are going to be out when you first put them out. Now, just over a month since we put these signs out, I'm still seeing some signs down the roads that I frequently drive, however, not nearly as many, so that makes total sense. From the signs, we got 24 quotes. Now, The weird thing here is the proportion of quotes that we booked is lower than normal. So normally we book about 40 to 50% of our quotes. This one, we booked 6 out of the 24. So there's some kind of discrepancy there. There's some room for improvement there. But hey, that's why I do these tests. They're not perfect. There's always room for improvement. So maybe you can do better than I did. I'll probably learn from this as well. So 6 jobs booked. These jobs, I'm just gonna list the dollar amount of each job. We had a $420 one, fairly small, $845, $752, $1,025, which that's great. We love the jobs over $1,000. Those are the ones that tend to be super profitable. $605 and $420 for a total of $4,067 on $852 in expense. Not too bad. So let's go through these expenses and see what exactly the profit is here though. So we got $4,067. Deduct $1,220 in labor, deduct $610 in miscellaneous expenses like supplies and fuel. Once the job's actually there, it's not super expensive to do the job. And then deduct the $852.64 for the signs and the big beefy drill bit and fuel and things like that. That leaves me with $1,384.36 in profit on, again, that $852 in expense. That is a 162% return. So I spent $852 and profited $1,384. That's how much I profited. Earned $4,067. So I'm pretty excited about this return. I mean, 162% return. Go ahead and try and get that in the stock market. However, I will say this was a lot of work. Now that I know how to do it, I think I could maximize the amount of money that could be made with this and spend less time, because in the second day of doing it, we got way more signs out, and I think that was by far the more effective way to do it. So what I learned here is busy streets. I wouldn't mess with neighborhoods anymore. Busy street corners where there's already signs. I do think I had a little bit of a disadvantage here because we did this when there was all these political signs out. So when there's already a bunch of signs in a corner, you tend to just not even see them. So I think there was a disadvantage there. I think in the future, if I did it again without signs distracting you, that would be a little bit more effective. So I'd go in the real busy areas, even though that's kind of the awkward place to put these signs down. I would focus 100% on that. I think that would bump this return up to probably around 200%. And I would absolutely continue using that drill bit, because don't do it without a drill bit. Just trust me, unless you're pushing it into grass. That's easy. And then to figure out the quotes to jobs booked, I'm going to have to do a little bit more of analysis to figure out why they're not booking. Is it because of price? Is it because of something else? There's some more digging to be done there. So overall, I think this is a good way to get some additional jobs, especially if you don't have a huge budget, but it is fairly time consuming. But overall, I think it's worth it in the long run. What do you think of this experiment? Is there anything that you would have done differently? Do you have any tips or tricks as far as bandit signs go? And also, while you're at it, go ahead and hit the like button on this video and subscribe, because this literally took me more than a month to complete this. And let's just battle the YouTube algorithm. So until next time, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I hope you have a profitable day.